With beef, we are loaded into the game. Everything is on faster speed, so it will be going pretty damn quick. In the top right position, we do have the green Zerg player, the incredible Grandmaster player, TheRipper. And now beef, introduce the lower left. We'll split this down the middle.
All right, there you go. My boy here from the South Pacific. We got the yellow Protoss. Will he make Ire proud right here? Will he take this series? He's Nimitz.
This should be close. I've got to say, though, I don't know which way it's going to go. I do not know what's going to happen. All I know is that we are in store for some incredible Starcraft. Well, it should be, assuming things go normally. TheRipper with a 14 or 15 pull. And then into a quick hatchery and a quick third. Nimitz should go for a forward fast expansion. He may be brave, he may take a risk and go Nexus first. It is viable, but we will have to wait and see. Mid-game is what it's all about, though. And, well, any strategies you're thinking either of these two may go for?
I'm thinking Phoenix here from Nimitz. We already saw it earlier on Ohana that Protoss players just a little bit willing to go for some really aggressive Stargate strategies, and Phoenixes here on Daybreak are just so strong. I think that that's a real possibility. The Immortal Sentry all-in not nearly as strong as it is here on Daybreak as it might be on Cloud Kingdom or Ohana. So that's what I'm going for, Stargate.
Stargate is indeed going to be a possibility, but we have a gateway opening at the moment. I haven't seen one of these in a long time, especially on Daybreak on the low ground.
Two-gate expand. Two-gate expand. Go two-gate expand.
I haven't seen this for ages. I can't actually think of exactly when I last saw it, but the pylon block is going to be frustrating, and that's actually going to cause, most likely, TheRipper to take his third first, and that is very problematic if your opponent goes for a two-gate expand, because they can send the Zealots in and just start chipping away at it.
They can indeed, but a Nexus is going to come down first. Now, what will he allocate his next 152? If it's a cybernetic score, I'm going to be disappointed. And if it's a gateway, I'm going to be extremely excited. So we'll see here in just a moment. Now, the pylon was left to actually complete and will now be cleaned up by Zerglings.
It will. The pylon is going to go down. The drone even getting in a little bit of help there. He's like, you know what? I don't want to be left out. And that little drone, will he get the kill? That's all important. The answer, no. Poor drone. He tried. He was the little drone that could. But behind this, we have got, unfortunately, the Forge.
He manned down. He manned down hard. Now, of course, with the Overlord making its way over there very quickly. You know what? Now that I think about it, the last time that I saw two-gate expands being relatively popular was before the Overlord speed change, which was like 8 months ago now.
Like forever ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much people were saying that was going to ruin the game, and then it didn't really make a huge amount of difference, and it just meant that we got more macro?
I don't know, man. I think you could probably find some Protoss and Terran out there that said the Overlord and Queen changes did ruin the game. But
I think they were the people who 4-gated and like proxy 2-raxed every game. But now we do see, of course, that probe does die, but sees that the Zerg player is doing indeed what he should be doing, which is getting down nothing but a spawning pool and hatcheries.
Yep, gonna play pretty damn greedy, but knows exactly what his opponent has, as he's already flown not one but two Overlords over his opponent's natural. Gonna be able to keep a watchful eye on that forward watchtower as well, and just know exactly what's going on with his Protoss opponent. Now, Protoss actually taking a relatively early third gas right there.
Is this the start of my dream, my hope, a carrier build? Probably not. More likely just going to be a little bit of teching up. Or is it going to be the Stargate you thought, though, Beef? Or are we going to see something else entirely? No sign of tech yet, though. So is it going to be a robo? Could be. Are we going to see something crazy? I do hope. But TheRipper, for the moment, he is just getting out his queens and getting out his drones. And that is all he will probably be doing for quite a while.
Indeed. I got to tell you really quickly about the craziest build that I saw. Was actually a tournament about a month and a half ago, maybe, where it was a guy named Lag 5-year-old, relatively unknown player, but a good guy, plays in a lot of our tournaments at IVD Gaming, was playing against Western Wolves Zictamini. And 5-year-old actually went for, I had seen this build once before ever on ladder. He went for a Mothership Rush Charge Lot Archon all-in.
I have seen that build. Yeah, I was funny you were saying that because my craziest build recently was actually last week at the ESET Open, and we had a Mothership Rush there as well, which was nearly very, very effective from an unknown against a pro. So
this was effective. 5-year-old actually beat him here on Daybreak and took the series 2-0. Zictamini, I tweeted about it on Twitter, and he was not too happy about it, that he had lost.
No, I can imagine Zictamini wouldn't be too happy. But Zictamini, of course, the Wizard Zerg, he was the winner of the WCS UK qualifier. And that shook up a lot of things because he knocked out some really big people. And yeah, he's doing really well for himself, actually. So
and
he's a cool
got an
guy.
awesome beard.
He does have an awesome beard. That's pretty much all you need to know someone's awesome, is they've got an awesome beard. But anyway, enough about Zictamini, more about this game between Nimitz and TheRipper. We do have the Twilight Council coming down, more gateways coming down. We got Observer coming out and +1 ground weapons. Meanwhile, for the Zerg, we've got the double evolution chamber with the melee upgrades on their way out. No Roach Warren. This is very Stefano-esque. Probably going to go into Infestors relatively quickly off the back of this once the layer gets started, which I'm hoping will be soon, because you can only get so far with mass upgraded speedlings.
Yeah, like you said, I would like that layer to come down. If he starts it like 10 seconds ago, it would hit perfectly with his upgrades, his 1-1 upgrades ending, which is what I like to do. As a Roach Warren now going to come down. Still no layer though. Speed going to kick in, and might try to do a big surround here. Does have a preposterously high number of Zerglings on the field. 53 Zerglings would be able to absolutely rip apart Nimitz's ground army. And here they come.
Where are the force fields? They're not going down. Oh my goodness, those force fields. They have to hit perfectly. As long as they do, it should be okay. The Zealots are engaging as best as they can, but with the 1-1 upgrades, this force of gateway units is slowly going down. A sentry does fall. More Zerglings are coming in beef. Is this going to be enough?
I think this is going to be enough to push through this Protoss army, but with reinforcements constantly coming in, the Zealots actually look like they might be starting to hold right here. No, not going to be enough, and now these last remaining Zerglings are going to be able to clean up the pylon. Nope, going to start to work on the Nexus. I would have preferred that they killed the pylon and the warping in units, and now going to turn their attention toward one of these Zealots. Eventually going to be pushed back, though. More Zerglings coming in, though. Nope.
This is a really cool build. We've got the 4th coming out behind this. More Zerglings on their way. With the 1-1 upgrades, Lair just finished. So we should see an infestation pit now, ideally. And with that, Aspire. Ooh.
I love it.
That is awesome. I was actually going to come on to say the only thing other than an infestation pit is Aspire. You'll have to take my word for it that I'm not just trying to get on with the hindsight 100% prediction rate. But this... as I sneeze, could be awesome.
Oh, Zergling run by getting into the natural. Gonna head on up to the main and where the warpins of Zealots. 2 warped in here and gonna be starting to work on the probes. Get a few, but are eventually gonna be cleaned up by the Zealots. Great job targeting down a couple of the probes in the gases. And the Robo is now revealed as well, with that Immortal coming on out. And of course, the Zerglings walking right by it. A total of 11 workers have been killed thus far. And our Zerg player putting on the aggression. I love this.
I think it is a brilliant play, and the reason I think it's so good is because the Spire follow-up relies on the fact that Nimitz is not going to get many Stalkers out because there has been such a commitment to Speedlings. Instead, there will just be a big commitment to Zealot and Sentry, and therefore, once these Mutas hit, and when we think there's going to be 13 near instantaneously, that is going to be absolutely huge because there's not going to be any anti-air, and that'll be very difficult for Nimitz to hold.
Uh-oh, there's actually a very small gateway contingent out here on the middle of the map. The Zergling's going to come on in and hold position. Micro going to try to clean up as many probes as possible. Now going for a surround over here on the Stalkers, but decent force field's going to be coming on in, and the Zealots able to actually take out all of the Zerglings, limiting the losses once again. Only 2 additional probes killed right there, but the Ripper, I mean, he's taken his 4th and 5th base, going all the way up to 10 gas right now, and as long as he's able to keep the Protoss player from moving out onto the map, he's going to be able to trade efficiently and just keep on out macroing.
He has already got 18 Mutalisks out. That's going up against 13 Stalkers and 2 Sentries. Blink is done though, but we're seeing probes getting sniped off here. The Mutas, once a few more do hit, could almost go head to head with these Stalkers, especially when the +1 weapons is done for them. But what we're seeing is just that actually the Ripper is dominating in the map control.
He is indeed, and it's going to be preposterous, the number of Mutalisks that he has coming up here pretty soon. +3 ground weapons is on the way, and there we go. A Templar Archives was just dropped by our good buddy Nimitz, and going to be able to get Storm or Archons up. Both of those going to be able to deal with this Mutalisk Zergling composition very effectively, and he needs those. He needs those absolutely. There's a big blink coming up right there. +2 Stalkers absolutely shredding through the Mutalisks, actually, and that was a really good trade for Nimitz, but the Ripper, he's firing on all cylinders with macro.
He has got so many gas, guys. There's so much gas income. It's actually over 1,000, and that is massive. These mutas are getting ever increasing in numbers, and it gets to that critical point that actually you have so many mutas, you can't beat them with just Stalkers. It doesn't work. I'm actually thinking of a game where I saw from someone who was unknown against EG's In Control, and there was like 50 mutas out, and In Control had a good number of High Templar with Storm and some Phoenix and Stalkers, and just couldn't beat that many. And that's what Ripper is getting towards now, with already 28 out and 3 more about to pop.
Zergling's trying to hit the third while the Mutalisks were poking on the main, and actually this is a really good engagement for the Zerglings. They fall back though, not looking to engage onto the Zealots, so they were looking all right there when they had the opening on the Mortals, but the Zealots maybe a little bit too deadly. Mutalisks going to poke back in the third once again, going to try to snipe down some probes, and we snipe down the Nexus, and will get engaged on by these +3 Stalkers, and the Ripper starting to fall behind right now. If we actually take a look at units lost, resources lost, double the amount of resources lost now by our Zerg player.
Now look at this, mass spine crawlers, hive, pathogen glands, roach speed, and still the Ripper just flick over to Nimitz's view of the map. Look how restricted that is, and then take a look at the Rippers. He can see pretty much everything everywhere.
He is indeed doing an amazing job at holding the map, and I hope that he's just not committing too hard right here with all these Mutalisks. In fact, they're just being sniped out. He's done almost no damage with these Mutalisks in terms of actual units killed. He's just trying to buy himself time, and now with an 11 Windfesters coming out, we'll see how the Ripper chooses to approach this as we approach the late game.
Now, as things are just having a bit of a lull, I'm going to ask your opinion on Infestors in Heart of the Swarm. Do you feel they're now completely useless?
I don't feel they're completely useless, but I feel that they're in a better position where you can't make them in every situation, where they're no longer viable against every strategy. Against a pure Bio Ball coming out of Terran, they're still great. Against pure Blink Stalker coming out of Protoss, they're great. Against Mutalisks, they're still pretty damn good. But you can't make them against every composition, every matchup now.
I would completely agree with you, and I think that makes it exciting. We've got these mutas coming in now. There's only a couple of Stalkers there. The Stargate could get focused down because the reactions would have to be crazy. There was a high
Storm! Big Storm going down right there. Not able to kill anything, but doing a lot of damage. And the Mutalisks now being flanked by the rest of the Stalkers coming on in to join the party. A lot of units left here on the middle of the map, though, and the Mutalisks might try to go hit them. No, not going to.
Not quite yet. They're just waiting. They're being patient, getting ready for the Broodlords to come out. But the Ripper, he needs to lose some of this supply now, really quite rapidly. He's sitting up at a good worker count in 77, but what does he lose? He's got 17 roaches and those 23 mutas, and frankly, they're going to have to start dying.
They are indeed. He wants to trade them out effectively, but he's almost going to start to have sacrificing them. But it's going to be so hard to sacrifice them without putting himself in an extremely vulnerable position as a huge group of Stalkers. Nimitz just showing us that he loves his Stalker squadrons. They were approaching, trying to poke into the fourth, not able to find an open avenue.
The Spine Crawlers, though, they are going to be the all-important buffer in the Ripper's army. What he needs to do is keep those up to give him time to get the Broodlords. But the Mothership is now on its way out for Nimitz. The Roaches are on their way to... They may not know it. They may think that they're going to do something useful. But unfortunately, they are not.
They're going to be able to pick off 2 Stalkers before they go down. But in the end, these +3 3-2 Blink Stalkers, looking very, very fearsome, are going to finish off all the roaches. The Mutalisks are, though, going to try to take advantage of these Stalkers being out of position, and they're once again hitting the main.
Now, if they snipe off those 2 High Templar really, really quick, it will be fine, but they need to get it ASAP. There's the Storm, though, and it's pretty good, but splitting up his Mutas was precisely what the Ripper wanted to do, and he now just needs to actually try and kill as much as he can, and it doesn't matter too much if a couple of these Mutas die, because it frees up supply to get more Broodlords.
And the Broodlords, speaking of those who already had 4 morphed in, we got plus 3/3 ground weapons for his Zerglings and Broodlings being finished up here, and plus 2 weapons in the air for the Broodlords, whereas the Mothership going to be finishing up here soon. We've got plus 3 armor coming out for our Protoss. The Warp Prism on the way. No Warp Prism speed just yet, at least that I saw. Yeah, no Warp Prism speed, and no extended Thermal Lance either.
The Mutas, they could engage those Stalkers head on if they wanted to, and I think that's a good choice to make. You can keep the Stalker numbers lower, keeping the Broodlords alive, and if you lose some Mutas, it doesn't really matter, because you're just freeing up supply for more Broodlords. But there's the Storm, you've got to run away from that, and the Ripper just has had great control so far with those Mutas, in my opinion, overall. He's
done very well indeed, and I got to point out, we have 11 Infestors on the field that have not had to cast a single spell. They are all sitting on 200 energy right now. That is so many Infested Terran, that is so many Fungals for the upcoming team fight, and the Gateway Army of Nimitz, 3-3, going to be hitting here momentarily, looking for something to kill.
And do you know what they're going to be able to kill?
Nothing.
Not much. There's Mutas there. They are going to clean it all out. The Spine Crawlers are probably going to fall, but the Mutas do have so much DPS. They are just going to be able to clean this out fairly easily.
Well, he's trying not to get too out of position right here as the Broodlords are coming over. The Infestors still hanging out over here at the 4th base, and the... Uh-oh, those Broodlords could be in some trouble. There's the big blink up under the Broodlords. 1 goes down, 2, 3, and 4 going to be going down right there. The Stalkers are going to have to get out. No, actually just going to sacrifice a lot of those Stalkers, but cleaning up those Broodlord numbers, and the Zealots were able to take down the hatchery. Actually, a huge swing of events for Nimitz.
The thing is, for the Ripper, while he lost a couple of Broodlords, look at his bank. Yeah. 2,000 plus minerals and gas. Admittedly, Nimitz sitting at 7,500 and 3,000. He's basically got a trust fund the size of Paris Hilton's, but that isn't really going to be much help unless he can stop this Broodlord Infestor army, and that is just going to be so tough for him.
It's going to require a lot of multitasking, multi-pronged harass, and it's going to require some incredible vortexes as Speed Zealots are going to be once again trying to hit the natural now, but having to fly through the swarm, the gauntlet of Broodlords. More Zealots and Stalkers going to be hitting in the bottom base, and the 3rd over here. Milo's trying to finish up the Zealots while the Blink Stalkers hit the 5th, and this is just crazy multi-pronged aggression. I'm loving this coming out of Nimitz.
This is really good. The Infestors are apparently deciding to wanting to go and give those Stalkers a hug. They're feeling all romantic on Valentine's Day, but the Broodlords are having none of it. They're not having those Infestors cheap with the Stalkers.
Oh, the Greater Spire! It's gonna go down. Was researching +3, not gonna be able to produce any more Broodlords, and this is exactly what Nimitz is looking to do, trying to buy more time, trying to get the energy for double motherships while building up an incredible army. And oh my god, he's making the carrier transition.
This is making my day. Nimitz is going for carriers.
I don't even know what to say. He's got the Protoss air weapons on the way. He's working on the carriers. Yes!
This is brilliant. Nimitz, you are now my hero, and I may suddenly start swinging my bias towards you. Because anyone who makes carriers instantly becomes awesome. Great feedback. And the Storm's still
oh, there's a vortex going off right there. Able to catch a couple of Infestors, and now moving forward, trying to send a lot of these Stalkers and a couple of Archons in there. Broodlord's going to be able to finish off the rest of the Stalkers, not inside though. And look at that warping in a total of 14 Stalkers at a time. The Broodlord's going to be coming on now, and they get absolutely melted by the Archon. Nimitz all of a sudden taking the supply lead, a big blink forward, going to try to finish off most of these Mutalisks. We have a Neural Parasite going out on the Mothership, does not have enough mana for another Vortex though. The Mutalisk still trying to finish up everything on the ground, and Nimitz now behind in supply once again, but the Neural Parasite will be able to use the Vortex, and yes, Vortex is everything under the Mothership. The Infested Terran is going to be going down as well, but another big Warpin coming in. This is a crazy game.
This is getting absolutely out of control. The carriers are about to pop. The Broodlords trying to get focused down, but only a handful of Stalkers there. I don't think Nimitz is going to be able to do it. He's storming. He's doing everything that he can, but with the Stalkers all but gone, there's just 5 remaining. Even with the next warp in, I feel the Broodlords are still okay. They're backing away with the Archons coming in, but the carriers are out on the fields. Nimitz, he's got class, he's got carriers, and well, what we're seeing now is the Ripper having to fall back. He's spent all of his money, whereas Nimitz is still sitting at just under 2,000 minerals and 300 gas.
Nimitz also establishing his 5th base up here at the 10 o'clock position, and the Remax of Ultralisks coming out right now is going to be devastated by these carriers here in a minute. And
there's 4 more on the way.
Speed Warp Prism coming over here to the natural as well, looking to do some additional damage. The Greater Spire was never rebuilt.
No more Broodlords. That could be a problem, and of course, with those carriers coming out, oh my goodness, this is good enough. The Ultras, well, the Ripper, he's thinking he's in such a good spot, but the problem is going to just be the carriers and the interceptors shredding through everything.
Look at this Zealot Warp in bottom right-hand corner of the map. The 5th base in trouble once again, but here comes the Ultralisk over here at the 4th. Fungals going down right there on the carriers, but there's not a whole lot of Fungals left. The Ultralisk on the ground, not taking a ton of damage from the carriers, but they're just not able to kill everything in the air. There's no anti-air other than the Infestors and the Fungals. Everything on the ground is being absolutely demolished by the Ultralisks, though, but the Infestors now being targeted down, and the Corruptors not even there. The Ultra is going to be able to try to finish off this 4th base, but here comes the cloak from the Mothership. No detection coming in. The Corruptors being cleaned up by the carriers, and Nimitz, is he going to do this? The Vortex going out on the Ultralisks.
This is amazing. We have now got Nimitz having held off a mass Ultralisk push. There's still 7 Ultras in that Vortex. Out they come, but they are going to be met by 7 carriers and Ultras. They may be good, but they cannot jump, and of course with that, they will all get shredded through the cloak from the Mothership. A burrow on the Ultras, just trying to keep them alive. This is some pretty funky play, and Nimitz, if he moves out now, those Ultras are just going to unburrow and destroy that 4th base.
Yeah, he needs to get an observer. Their ASAP is, damn, this game is laggy. I'm actually lagging kind of hard right now. I don't know what it is, but made me kind of laggy here. Void Rays could come in and supplement the carriers, and this Sky Protoss army is looking absolutely incredible.
This is looking very, very scary. Even without Tempest added in, this is pretty mad. The Crafters are trying to go in both, of course, as we're seeing, the Overseer has been taken out. More coming in though, but the Crafters, oh god, and there's the GG.
That's it!
Nimitz has done it with carriers. He is now a complete hero. GG, well played to both players in